I'm super excited to be doing this free mini program. And the purpose really is, hold on one second, I just realized my notes are at my computer. Okay. Sydney Uni is going online as of next week, so frantically trying to prep enough work to do remotely. No lockdown yet, but things are strained. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's still pretty much business as usual in Bali. I haven't been out of the house since Monday, since I've been sick. And, not gonna lie, it was a little bit nerve-wracking when I got sick. But it literally was like I got sick the day after flying, and I was like, oh, I just got a germ in the tube, right? Like the germ tube. Like that's what I call the airplane, the germ tube. Because obviously Corona takes 14 days to come on, and I just was like instantly sick the next day. But it was a little nerve-wracking. I was a little nervous, and then by day 2, when I didn't have a fever and I hadn't had a fever, I was like, oh, this is, it's just a cold, which, it's a pretty uncomfortable time to be sick because everyone's looking at you like, oh my God, my house staff, everyone basically and I kind of just shut myself off in my room. But every time I would come out, my staff would be like, so I think they're all fine now because they realize I didn't get a fever and I'm not in the hospital, obviously, after 3 or 4 days. But I definitely, I rarely get sick. Rarely get sick. And when I do get sick, I get majorly sick once a year. And I was really sick in December. So I was like, oh, I'm good. I'm not going to get sick for another year. And then this came on. So I don't know. Maybe it's just giving me some immunity to all this craziness that's happening in the world. So obviously I said in the welcome video of this group that I had this idea to do this group months ago. And so it just feels like it's really, really coming at the right time right now. It feels like it's really, needed. It's needed in the world. I'm trying to find my notes. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, it feels like it's the right time to have started this group. Obviously, I believe everything happens in divine timing. And that's a hard belief to have right now when there's so much chaos and turmoil happening in the world. And so, I certainly have my own beliefs around, what I think is happening. And I think that I'll be sharing some of those along the way. But what I really just want to say is that I have a lot of compassion for the fear and anxiety that the people in the world are experiencing right now. I'm choosing not to buy into that fear and anxiety. I'm choosing to take a different route to all of this turmoil that's happening in the world. I really truly believe that on the other side of this, that there are, hidden blessings on the other side of this. I believe that we're coming together as people right now. I believe that we are going to experience a major shift in the control that the global financial elite have. I believe that on the other side of this, the global financial agenda will not have its claws so firmly entrenched in all the things that are happening globally. So I'm very optimistic and at the same time still very compassionate to the people that are scared and the people that, certainly the people that are sick and the families of the people that have been sick and the families of people that have died. And so I want to say that just off the bat, and I'm not really going to like keep going into that, but I want to say it off the bat because I want you to be aware that as we move through this 12-week mini program, my focus here is not going to be on the scarcity and the lack and the issues of the world, though we will be talking about them because they'll be relevant to how we're shifting and moving into overflow. But the purpose of this group and the purpose of this mini program is to we're in a new paradigm. The new paradigm has already happened. And so if you've been following me for a long time, you know, last year I was talking about, you know, creation of a new wealth paradigm and calling in a new wealth paradigm and creating a new wealth paradigm. Well, it's here. The beginning of it is here. And so now what I really want to talk to you guys about and what I want to focus on is wealth creation in this new paradigm and how we can absolutely choose and shift into overflow at any time. And that even though it appears that the world is falling apart and falling down around us, that we still have an option to choose into overflow in each moment of every day. And so that's what this series is going to be about. It's going to be about me giving you a series of steps to break free from the struggle and to break free from controlled chaos, which is what I think is actually happening right now in the world. So I truly believe that this is a call for us to rise up more than we ever have in the past, and for us to fully embrace that we are the architects of our destiny, that we are in control of not just our financial wealth, but wealth in all areas of our life. And that abundance is absolutely available to us even in times like this of great crisis, or great perceived crisis. So that's what the series is going to be about. It's going to be 12 weeks. You will notice that we're also dropping some other videos that I feel are relevant or pertinent to like what's happening in society right now as a whole. And so you're definitely seeing, like, you'll be seeing those dropping in. We're dropping one every Wednesday. And then I'm also dropping some other ones. So you should have 3 videos from me a week inside this container to watch. One that Mallory's dropping on Wednesdays, one that I'm dropping one other time during the week, and then the weekly live stream with me that will be the official part of this kind of 12-week program. I really want this to be a safe place for you guys to share, to talk about the experiences you're having, to create community. What I don't want to have happen in here and what I don't want to see happen in here is really buying into like the fear and scarcity that exists in the world. There's enough of that outside of this container. I mean, you can scroll Facebook for less than like 1 second and find a whole plethora of fear-based stuff that you can read and buy into and listen to. And so I am going to be sharing some tips and some tools and some downloads that I'm getting and channeled guidance that I'm getting. And so I want to be really clear that when I share that with you, it's not to alarm you, that anything that I'm sharing with you is coming from a place of, you know, hopefully igniting you to question everything you're being told, even from me inside this container. But secondly, to help you be prepared. So there's a difference between getting caught up in hysteria and chaos and in being smart and being prepared for what potentially is coming down the pipe, right? So on this call today, I really just yeah, I mean, I don't anticipate we're going to be talking about coronavirus a lot in here, right? Like, that's just, it is the reality of what's happening in our outside world. But really what I want to create in here is a place where we activate overflow and we activate abundance and we step into that. And I talked about on the welcome call in this group that, you know, certainty is my superpower. And so I come into this 12-week program with each of you that are inside this container that choose to participate in this. And obviously, like, you don't have to participate in this 12-week program if you're in the container. You can catch some videos, no videos, whatever. I just wanted a place to house this, and it felt like this was the right place. I'm definitely interested in cultivating spaces where the information that's coming through me is landing on ears that desire to hear it, on ears that are going to be active and engaged in taking that information and like disseminating it out into the world, and that are going to be making impacts in their communities and in their families and in their, you know, parts of the world that they're living in. Like, that's really what I desire. And so I think I'm going to be moving away from doing so many public live streams, and then I'll be doing a lot more live streams in here, and in other, you know, containers that I have as well. Definitely, if you haven't joined me over on the Wealth Witch channel on Telegram, I really encourage that you do that, because that's kind of my like constant stream of consciousness on all things that's happening in my life day to day, and in the world. And, you know, certainly as we begin to see the changes in the economy and in the economic structures and systems, that's where I will be posting kind of real-time, up-to-the-minute stuff. So if you don't have Telegram already, definitely get Telegram. Definitely come join me over on the Wealth Witch channel. There's a link to it in this group, so you can access it from there. If you have any problem finding it, you can email support@theleahsteele.com, and we'll get you connected and set up. So, hey Laura. So, so yeah, in the vein of that, this is going to be a series of steps or a series of information to help you break free from the struggle, to help you step into overflow, to help you mold for yourself this new paradigm that we're experiencing. I think I want to begin that by just saying again and reiterating again to you that you have the power. Like, the power exists within you to mold and shape whatever reality you're desiring to make, shape, and create. And I don't say that from a place of like, you know, bypass everything that's happening in the outside world and then just sit in your little bubble of love and light and I can create and manifest anything I desire, like The Secret. Like, that's not what I'm talking about at all. What I'm talking about is pulling back your power from the collective chaos that's happening, and recognizing and realizing that you are a divine creator and you are an ultimately powerful being, that 1,000,000% has the ability to manifest and design the life that you deeply desire, even in times of uncertainty, even in times of chaos, even in times of crisis. And the other thing that I will say is that it requires more focus. It requires more discipline. It requires more dedication to the personal practices that help you create those realities and those existences than it ever has before. In this time of crisis, perceived crisis, in this time of chaos that we're experiencing on a global level now, it's not going to be as easy as it used to be for you to just journal a few times a week and create the life that you're desiring. There's a lot of energetic frequency and vibrational resistance and friction, and you know, your creation energy is going to be met with chaos and crisis blocks, and so it's going to require more dedication on your part to really being an active creator in your life. This is a great reminder for me as well, because, you know, I have moved back into a fairly regular journaling practice after like really falling off for a couple of months. And, you know, one of the things that I realized yesterday was that I've been journaling, but I have not been getting specific. Like, I have not been getting specific about the states of overflow that I desire to exist in. And so this is kind of the first thing that I'm going to give you guys is I would love for you to get really, really clear on, and through like this, I mean, completely mean through journaling here, get really clear on what is the life that you desire to be living during this time of chaos, right? Because the truth is the world has changed. And it has changed drastically and dramatically, and it is not the same place that it was 2 days ago, a week ago, certainly a month ago, 2 months ago, right? We're living in a different reality. And you may not have even thought about this. What is the reality that you desire to live in inside what's happening on a global scale? This is going to be different than what you would have journaled on a week ago or 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. And go into this with the idea of, this is what I'm desiring to create for myself, and I need to realize and understand that each action, each manifestation or creation action that I take and I put out into the world, it comes up against the energy of the world. Recognizing and realizing that now when you put your manifestation and creation energy and vibrations out into the world, they're going to be met with chaos and crisis and fear and lack and scarcity. And so I want you to get really clear on what is it that you're desiring to create in your life right now. And it's a really good question. Andrew asks, where do you focus most? External specifics or feeling specifics? So for me, this has to be all encompassing. You know, first of all, for me, it's like I always check in with how do I want to feel. That hasn't shifted for me except for one thing. So I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time on how do I want to feel, because I'm really clear on how I want to feel. If you're not clear on how you want to feel, or if you're not clear on what a state of overflow feels like or what that would feel like, I experienced that in my life. And so I don't need to really get clear on what a state of overflow feels like. But if you haven't experienced that, or you haven't regularly experienced that, then yes, the first thing I would do is get really, really clear on how you would feel in that state of overflow. In the state of, for a lot of you, this journaling is going to focus on feelings of safety, stability, and security, because those are the issues that are up in the world right now. Those are the things that's what's triggering fear, scarcity, and lack mentality, right? Worries about safety, stability, and security. So, and it's completely okay to be focused on that right now. Like, that's the other thing I want to tell you. It's like, there are a lot of people in the online space that I'm seeing right now that are like, they're not addressing that there are very real concerns happening in the world right now. Some of you in this group are online coaches and you're doing really well. And some of you in this group have 9-to-5 jobs. And some of you in this group have been laid off of jobs. Some of you work in the service industries and professions, which is one of the industries that has been hit the hardest, right? So wherever you are, meet yourself there. And there is no right or wrong answer for what that feeling of overflow is going to give you. Safety, stability, and security has always been very important to me. So it's always something that's in my mind and in the forefront of my mind when I'm creating, when I'm consciously creating my life. It's like there's always stuff there around feeling safe, feeling stable, feeling secure. And in times like this, I think it's really important that you make sure that you have those feelings of safety, stability, and security. Because without those, we're operating from midbrain in this fight, flight, freeze, and in chaos, and in, our parasympathetic nervous system just being fucking shot, and like you can't create from a place of being energetically and physically scattered and frazzled, okay? So I cannot explain, Rona, what overflow means for you. I cannot explain that. You are the only one that can define that. Overflow looks different for everyone, right? So that's something that you're going to need to define for yourself. What does it feel like to be in a state of overflow? For me, being in a state of overflow means that I have at least $10,000 liquid that I'm able to access at any given moment. It means that I literally am not thinking about or worrying about money at all. It's literally not even crossing my mind when I go to pay for something, or when I desire to go on a trip. It's like being in a state of overflow for me means I'm not even thinking about the cost of something. The words "that's expensive" are never crossing my mind. That's what being in a state of overflow means to me. All of my bills are paid on time. All of my commitments are completely taken care of. Like, I never have to worry about how I'm going to pay something, or do something or create something or access something. Now, does it mean that I'm in this state all the time? No, of course not. And creation work and creating a life of overflow is work. Like, it requires being dedicated to a constant method of creation, right? And it is when I find myself not in a state of overflow, it's usually because I've fallen off of my overflow creation rituals that I engage in. So that's kind of the first part. So you get clear on what overflow means to you. You get clear on how it would feel to be in a state of overflow. And then, yes, I would get specific, like some of the things that I just told you. What does it look like in your external landscape, in your external environment to be in a state of overflow? What are the tangible things that you can see, feel, touch, and know in your external environment when you're in a state of overflow? You've got to have that, because if you don't have it, you don't know if you've ever achieved it or if you've reached it, right? So that's kind of, and I'm not going to give you guys like tons of homework or tons of like exercises, but this is something that I really want you to focus on for this first week, right? It's really getting clear on, what does overflow mean to you? What does it feel like what will it feel like, or what does it feel like for you to be in a state of overflow? And then what's going to be happening in your external environment that's going to be able to show you that you're living and existing in a state of overflow. So I want to talk a little bit about abundance and what abundance means to me. This group is called Rich Abundance. And so I want to talk about that. I want to talk about, for me, abundance. And I think we shared a video in here, an abundance activation, or a video titled You as Abundance. That's really, really good. So definitely check that out and watch that. I go into more detail on what abundance actually, the etymology of abundance and what it actually means and all of that. But abundance to me is overflow. It's a state of overflow. It's existing in, and it's, for me, it's always a state of beauty, because it's being abundant, and being in abundance to me means that I am able to live in the moment, enjoy the moment, treasure the moment, and that I'm not future tripping or worrying about even what's going to happen 1 minute from now, 2 minutes from now, 5 minutes from now. So when I am in a state of abundance, I'm in a state of appreciation of the moment. And I'm in a state of appreciation of the moment because everything is abundant. And so we can have abundance, obviously, in all areas of our lives. Financially, we have abundance in health. We have abundance in, all types of wealth, right? Relationships, love, sex, like there's so many things. So I guess another thing for you guys to identify is like, what areas of your life already feel abundant, and what areas do you desire more abundance in? So especially during this time right now, the inclination we're gonna have is to like contract, because that's what the world is doing. The world is contracting right now, right? So we're gonna have this inclination to like contract and start saving money and not spending money, and like penny pinching and being really careful like where we're investing and where we're spending and all of that stuff. And I'm going to say that I think it's important to be aware of what's happening in the world, and also to be aware of your own personal financial situation. But to be doing that from a place of custodianship of money, being a good custodian and a good steward of money and a good steward of your money, being practical in this time of global constriction, where we're not quite sure what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month. So yes, I believe it's important to be smart, but from a place of stewardship. But what we need to not do right now is completely contract and start hoarding money and holding on to stuff with white knuckle grips, because we're worried and stressed about what's going to happen a week from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now. Because all that does is create more constriction in the global economy, more constriction in our lives, and it moves us into a place of scarcity and lack mentality. And from a place of scarcity and lack mentality, it's impossible to be in overflow, period. So that is the thing that you have to be really aware of as you're moving through the world right now, because your inclination, and I'm saying this because it's happening to me too, right? It's something that I'm really having to be aware of. It's like, you know, I have payroll that I need to pay today, and I brought on a new employee recently, and one of my contractors' bills was significantly higher than it's been. And normally that wouldn't even faze me. I wouldn't even look at it. I wouldn't even be worried about it. But I got the bill from the contractor yesterday and I was like, ugh. And I had this little like, maybe I need to let people go. Maybe I need to. So like even I'm having these feelings. So it's going to be normal. It's going to come up. You're going to have, and that there's no way for that not to happen, right? If that wasn't happening, you would literally just be bypassing and living in a fucking love and light cloud and bubble where you're not actually seeing what's happening in the world. But here's what happened for me. I was like, okay, I had that thing, and then I was like, no, I'm not buying into that. And I've had to do this several times because the fear and scarcity and lack in the collective is so strong right now that it's absolutely going to be affecting you. Like, you're going to be feeling it. There's no way to not. Those thoughts are going to seem like they're your own because it's that strong. So for me, it's like when this happens, I'm like, okay, when a thought that feels like scarcity or lack comes up to me, I literally just pause and I'm like, okay, is that mine? 9 times out of 10, it's not. And I'm just like, okay, nope, it's not mine. I'm not taking that. And I move on. If I'm like, yep, I do have a little bit of worry or I do have a little bit of concern about that thing, then what I ask myself, which this came up when I got this contractor's bill, and I was like, and I was like, is that mine? And I was like, yep, it is mine. Okay, so what is it here that I need to look at? And it was absolutely about stewardship. And so for me, it was like, okay, here's what I need to look at. Right now, more than ever, my employees and my contractors need to be engaged in activities and in tasks that generate a return on my investment of paying them. And so it was an evaluation of, okay, what's each person doing? And then how can I direct their tasks toward things that are going to bring money into the business right now? And so instead of having to be in this place of lack or scarcity or fear, like, oh my God, I'm not going to have enough money to pay them, or like, what if something crazy happens and then the bottom falls out and then next month I don't have the money to pay them, I just went, nope, okay, yeah, that's mine. Yep, there's something to look at. It's absolutely stewardship and custodianship of money during this time that we're experiencing in the world right now. So what does that look like? Well, it looks like I have an amazing team of people, and they're all really brilliant and they're all really smart and they take direction really well. So how do I want to direct them to begin to only do activities, not only, but primarily do activities that are that will result in generating money for the company? And it felt really good. And I was like, okay, and it's something I'm going to be working on later this afternoon, is like looking at everybody's tasks and really like outlining and laying out for them, like, you know, 70% of the tasks that you're doing right now need to be focused on things that are going to bring money and revenue into the business. Because for me, what that's going to create is a cushion that will create safety, stability, and security, which will in turn allow me to continue to create and manifest, and it will result in me living and being in overflow. Yeah, so it's been interesting for me because I've been watching the US dollar a little bit, and it's been based upon where I'm living, right? In Indonesia, the US dollar has been rising and it's higher than it's been in months. And I was like, oh, this is fascinating. So yeah, I wouldn't, and it's going to be so volatile, what's happening with currency. I really wouldn't spend a lot of time looking at it or worrying about it because it's gonna be up and down, up and down, up and down. I'm in the process of looking at investing in some alternate currencies, and it's like right now you have to really be willing to just figure out what's right for you, make a decision to do that thing, and not worry about the ups and downs, the highs and lows, the dips. And I'll be talking about some of that stuff in here as well. Right now we're looking at, you know, we're keeping a lot of cash on hand. We're looking at investing into alternative currencies. And we're in the process of just like investigating that right now. I don't know if that's going to be Bitcoin or that's going to be BSV. Like, I'm not sure. So we're in the process of that. Once I decide what I'm going to do, obviously I'll share it with you guys. But again, I'm doing what feels right for me. This is my connection to the divine that's guiding this, that's leading this. And so I'm, you know, each step of the way, trusting my connection to source. One of the things that I'm finding so fascinating right now when I'm on the internet is, I still have a fair amount of people that like I grew up with that aren't in the like spiritually conscious space. So they're just like what I would refer to as muggles or normies, right? I have a fair amount of those people in my life still. And the reaction to this announced pandemic is, the difference in those groups of people, like the normal muggle people are in full fucking panic. This is the end of the world. Everybody's going to die from the virus. The hospitals are going to be overwhelmed. We're not going to have any food. We need to go out and hoard supplies. And then the spiritually conscious people are like, yes, feeling some fear, feeling some scarcity, feeling some lack, but overall, like staying in a place of like being hopeful and staying in a place of, how do I move through this? They're not paralyzed, right? I'm really seeing like this whole like state of paralysis happening with the muggles. So I think we all have that to be thankful for, right? That we're in a place where we've done enough mindset work, we've done enough work that we recognize at some level that we control our destiny, that we control our fate, that we are the architects of the creation of our lives. And for me, it's like, I know that abundance and wealth are my divine birthright. I know it. I know that, and I know it because of my connection to source and my connection to the divine, and because I continually cultivate that connection. I know what's meant for me. I know what's meant for us. I know what's meant for us as beings on this planet. And so as a result of that, like, even though it's sometimes hard, I can lean in on trust. I can trust that whatever this is that's happening right now in our world is happening for us. And that we may not be able to see what the divine plan is, but there is one. And that we absolutely get to create, we still get to just create our heaven on earth experience, even in this time of chaos, even in this time of like global crisis. We don't have to buy into the scarcity and lack and fear and panic. Even though we may be experiencing very real effects of the global chaos and crisis in our lives, it's like we still get to choose in those moments how to react to them. So how do I call in abundance in my life? Well, I do it through creation journaling, certainly. I do it through I say this thing, mind my mind, mind your mind, mind your mouth, but I do it through minding my mind. I do it through not allowing myself to get too spun out into what everybody else in the world is thinking about anything, really. Like, even prior to this whole thing happening, it's like I exist inside my world and inside my mind and inside my knowing that I'm a divine being that has the ability to create the life that I deeply desire. And I don't let too much outside influence come into that, especially if the outside influence is trying to deter me from the fact that I can create the life of my dreams. And for me, in doing that, it has included cutting off members of my family. It has included like ending friendships. If there were people that were not supportive of me doing that, or I felt like energetically didn't allow me to be in the space that I needed to be in to create, I'm very protective of that, to the point that I will distance myself from people, because the most important thing to me is creating this life I deeply desire, is creating this life experience for myself and my family. So I call it in by, being very careful of what's going on in my external environment. So who's around me? What type of people am I surrounding myself with? I am, constantly on this journey of self-mastery. I believe that this is absolutely one of the ways that I activate and call abundance into my life, is by constantly cultivating self-mastery and learning more about myself and learning more about what makes me work, and trying to hone and shape and trying to achieve my full human potential, like the full human potential of this body, the full potential of this mind, through studying and through, you know, just all the things that I love to do, which is like research and study and learn about myself, right? So whether that's my elemental makeup through 5 Elements philosophy and theory, or that's astrology, or that's human design, it's all like, for me, it is absolutely how I activate abundance, because the more I know myself, the more I understand myself, the more I know myself, the more I'm able to make myself available to those that I'm serving. The more I'm able to show up authentically, the more I'm able to show up vulnerably, the more I know myself, the more people are able to resonate with me, which means I'm able to help them more. And so that's another way that I call in abundance. So yeah, I really encourage you to get clear on what abundance means to you. What would it mean to be abundant? What would it mean to be living in a state of overflow? Like, that's the assignment for this week, is to really get clear on those things. So I'll be doing a live stream a week for the next 12 weeks, and we have different topics each week. So, and I'll be giving you some, you know, some things to reflect on or to journal on if you choose. And if you're watching the replay and you have questions for me, definitely go ahead and put them in the comment section. Make sure you tag me so that I don't miss them. Like I said, if you're not over on the Wealth Witch channel, definitely come join over there, because you'll get my kind of constant stream of thoughts throughout the day on all things happening in the world related to basically everything. And there's a fair amount of Barnett family hilarity on there as well. Jack shows up and makes an appearance quite frequently. Some other things, if you're new to me or you're new to these containers, I have a YouTube channel that just has heaps and heaps and heaps of free content on it. And we're posting, you know, anywhere between 3 and 5 little snippet videos of content as well on there every week. So that's just youtube.com/Leah Steele. So definitely check that out. The other thing is that if you are a person in business right now, okay, if you're in the online space, or you're in business, or you're wanting to enter into doing work in the online space, you're a spiritual entrepreneur of some kind, my Wealth Witch Get Rich Bitch Quarantine Abundance Bundle is now out. And this is a bundle that we normally sell for $333 that we've discounted right now to $111. And it's 22 plus hours of content with me. And the content is, I'm really, really excited about this bundle. And it's so interesting because we actually put this together back in November, when I did have an idea that this was coming this year, which is interesting. Like, so many of the predictions that I made October, November, December are coming true. But I didn't really have an idea that this was going to hit us like this. And so we put the bundle together. We actually sold a few of them around Christmas time. And now when I'm looking at what's actually in this bundle, I'm blown away, because I'm like, oh my God, it's literally like made for this time. So there are 22 plus hours of content in this bundle, and you get it for $111. There's 19 content, live streams, activations, audios that are ready to listen to now. And then my masterclass, Your Limitations Are Bullshit, that I'm doing next Friday, is also included in this bundle. So I'm going to give you guys the link to the bundle, and there is a payment plan available as well. So it's $111 or 2 payments of $64. There's the bundle. Here is the bundle payment plan. And if you're just interested in doing the Your Limitations Are Bullshit masterclass, which will be 2 hours and it will be interactive, then here is the link just for the masterclass, which is $44. But honestly, because the limitations is included in this, and it's $44. it just makes sense to do the bundle. Even if you have some of these classes in the bundle, it really makes sense to do it because there are audio trainings that were previously only released to my high-end mastermind clients in this bundle. Those audio trainings alone are worth the price of this bundle. Like there's really, really good stuff in here. So even if you have some of it, it makes sense to do it. $111. I want to tell you what's all in this bundle. So Your Excuses Are Bullshit, which is a 4-part series that I did last year, is included. Holding On Loosely / Testing Your Wealth Resonance, The Art of Detachment, When You Change Your Present, You Change Your Past, Healing Money Trauma, Deconstructing Slavery Consciousness, Are You Committed to the Struggle, Deconstructing Collective Consciousness Beliefs, that one's huge for right now, a training called Let's Talk About Debt, one called Change Your Money Story, Change Your Business, The Art of Alignment, Let's Talk Launching. This one's so good for right now too. Vanquishing the Fear Monster and Calling in the Cold Hard Cash, Generating Money Quickly, You as Abundance, the You as Abundance activation, which we've actually shared in this group as well, the Abundance Activation, the Wealth Activation, Making and Meeting Monthly Financial Goals, Pricing Intuitively, Selling in Integrity and Without Agenda, and then Consciously Choosing Your Relationship with Money. Those last 3 are audio trainings that were only released to my high-end mastermind clients. So those 3 trainings alone, like I said, are worth the price of the bundle. So definitely join me for that. Next Friday is going to be Your Limitations Are Bullshit. It will be an interactive masterclass that will be done via Zoom. I'm really excited for that. We're going to be doing quite a bit of clearing around perceived limitations for everyone that's participating. So I think that'll be really, really huge for this time in this crazy world and life that we're living in right now, right? So I think that's all I have for today. Next week, we will be talking more about, we'll be getting more clear on where you're not in overflow in your life and how we can shift those things. So that's it. I think that's all I have for today. I love you all. Have an amazing day, morning, evening, wherever you are in the world as you are watching this live stream or you're watching the replay. Remember, it is your divine birthright to be wealthy in all areas of your life, and you're so worthy and you're so deserving. I'm so glad you've joined me in this group. Please feel free to share it with anyone that you feel like would be interested. There are going to, Nikki, the bundle is not included in the all class pass, but the masterclass is included in the all class pass. So if you have the all class pass, you will get the master class, the Limitations Are Bullshit masterclass. What else? I was just saying something and then I forgot what it was. I don't remember. Anywho, I guess that's it. I will see you all hopefully in the masterclass next week, but I will be back for the second live stream in this series, in this container next week. There is a Google Calendar, so make sure if you haven't already signed up for that, you get signed up for it so you know when the live streams are. Hopefully the next one we won't have so many technical difficulties. Yeah, I think that's it. Mwah. Love you guys.